Hey Bubbles! I'm glad you can make it. Today I'm not only like showing off my drip with my vintage Barbies. I want this to be more educational about restoring Barbies as well, because some of them just look a little bit sus, you know what I mean? But it's a really good learning lesson too. I do suggest anyone to get into a new hobby when they're quitting smoking. Unfortunately, I got back into it, so it didn't work for me again. Well, that's one of the hardest things you can do is quit smoking too. So I commend you. Keep on, keep on. I started collecting vintage Barbies and I started researching how to restore them as well. And it was very, very fun. It was a cool thing to just keep my mind off of like quitting smoking. So I had like a whole, I took off their heads and I styled their hair with pins. It looked like it was like a kind of a macabre spa, as you will. So we're gonna get into it, and you get to learn a little bit about Barbie collecting too, because Barbie collecting is very, very hot right now. The market is up, up, up. If you love cooking videos, if you love Barbies, if you like, I do everything on my channel. I love it, I love it, love it. I've been really, really into cooking lately. So subscribe down below if you love my videos. Click that like button and click the bell icon so you'll be notified for every time I post a video. So this is what we call a 1962 bubble cut Barbie. All corrections will be up above me here. This is not the original dress. This is just something that I just got off of the dollar eBay listing, and that like took a month to get to me, you know what I mean? It was kind of like Wish. And so I usually buy them in this condition where they have most of their facial features. She has wonderful eyebrows, and they have this coarse hair that's like steamed into place. And I store them all in tissue paper. I don't take them out. That's how particular I am, because like I'm just kind of scared of them disintegrating, and we'll get into that in a little bit, because they do disintegrate. But she has most of her facial paint. It's pretty much just the watermelon lip, which is the iconic lip color. I love the watermelon lip, and some of the watermelon lips actually faded to like a white color. So she's 1962. She's got the hollow body, so you could always tell. Like this, I can't show you the butt markings, but I'll put them up there. And that's the markings that you're looking for a second issue. First issue, very, very rare, smaller bubble on the bubble cut Barbies, and they're very, very sought after, particularly Titian. And there's also something called a brownette. I do believe that is 1962 version, and they go for $200. So this was a low run version. It's very, very rare, and so is the white ginger. So that's what you want to look for when you're collecting, and you want to look for all the nail polish, because they have little nail polish. It's so, just Barbies of this time period, they just set my heart ablazing. I wanted to collect since I had a 1969 Marlowe flip in high school. I paid $90 for her. She was near mint condition. Samantha. Yeah, it's just a really, really enjoyable hobby. It takes up a lot of room, so make sure, like, I Barbies all over. Like, we'll go through the 90s as well, but we're going through the 60s, which I should have started off with the 1959 teenage fashion model. And Ruth Handler went to Germany and saw this doll design and saw that her daughter was only playing with paper dolls. So she designed this, mind you, this is a repro, and it annoys me how it's not exact, but this is the best teenage fashion model repro that you can get from 2009, by the way. So Ruth Handler, she was inspired by this little toy risque shops, adult shops, we should say. Build Lily was kind of this doll that they created from the comic book. The rest is history. Barbie took over. She's been an astronaut. She's been a bunch of careers, and so much hope for the children of all generations. And I personally love collecting her, and I'm gonna definitely get collecting more vintage Barbies. But the prices are so inflated, even for ones that are just kind of in bad condition. Like I used to buy them for like maybe $30 and then really fix them up, because I saw a market for that too. Like I understood that I didn't want to affect their value, even though they're in a bad state. But there are original collectors. There are collectors that buy repros as well, repros and repaints of vintage Barbies. So there's a big market for that. I even saw, 7 years ago when I started collecting, a Titian of number 5 go for, $120. I'm gonna start off with this one. My other one is a little bit of a different variation. So this is what we call a matte face number 5. So hollow body, still after 62 until 63, I do believe. Yeah, 62. Butt markings are the same. And this is the one that I redid. So there's a little thing that they can get. It's called green ear. So if there's metal earrings inside their ears, it tends to erode and decay and oxidize with the plastic and start breaking it down a little bit. I'm actually not sure why. I think it's the minerals depositing from the metal itself. I could be wrong, but she has a matte face as well. And I also removed her green ear. So I put a little thread through with some Lime Away if you're in the UK, or CLR if you're in Canada. I even reset her hair, guys. Like, this is not bad for a novice. And even though there's like a little shorter piece. Like, I know it's not perfect, but I did this myself, like hours just putting her hair up into a ponytail, not knowing what I'm doing precisely. Even gave her little curls too, which kind of flattened over the years as well, being in the box. My little Tupperware bin wrapped in tissue paper, should be acid free by the way as well. And she's got red unoxidized fingernails there, and I usually dip, like just tape their legs together and dip them in boiling water just to affect this kind of bow-legged effect. These out. And I might have been a little bit aggressive with the bow-legging here because I think it's supposed to be like that, but just absolutely gorgeous. I never get to see them. They're always in the bag. I don't want them to disintegrate anymore, but I finally hit my breaking point with these two Barbies. I was like, I want to see my favorite Barbies, and I display them now. The 1969 Marlowe Flip. They are definitely hard to restore, and they rest because of the snapping motion. So her legs do bend, much like the 90s Barbies. I'm not even sure if Barbies nowadays even have bend leg, and that started in 1964 with this one, with this Barbie, and she is my favorite. Guys, they went for a youthful face mold in 69. 66 is when the TNT Barbie came out with the twist and turn waist. Absolutely iconic, and I want all, like, they're so expensive, like $200 to $300, you know. So these ones will turn yellow. Their face will turn yellow just because it's a different plastic. I believe that's why you need to paint these ones. They're very, very difficult. And they got rooted eyelashes. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And she's, of course, twist and turn. And this is, of course, inspired by Marlo Thomas in the 60s, and I want every single one of them. I want even the repros go for $100, the ones that came out in 2009. Sucks, I want them all. But the market is all, everyone's at home, and it drives up the market prices, and that's good to see as well. I like to see that the toy market is up there and everyone's having fun collecting as well. So this is one of my success stories, and here's Julia. I had to sell her back in 2017, I do believe. I still think about her. I'm like, oh my gosh. So she has like a knit pack set, and this is when it started getting mass produced. These are a little bit on the cheaper side because they are mass produced. Her hair is excellently done. You know, it took me hours just to get the brush and make sure everything's all even Stevens, and, you know, washing them and then dipping them in boiling water, which is like absolutely so stressful. Like, it's so crazy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this actually gonna work? It's gonna burn or cinch their hair, but you don't leave it in there for long. It just sets everything in place, and she's been like that for 7 years. To the pièce de liaisons, and I do need some information, so if you collect Barbies, I keep forgetting. I'm pretty sure she's a white ginger, or just a blonde one, but she's absolutely gorgeous. She's probably the best conditioned one, and oh my gosh. Again, the second issue, hollow body, check. I thought there was some thatching. There is a Japanese version with thatching, so it's even like, it's very, very similar, but her lips oxidized to this white color, which is very, very normal, very, very desirable. I think it's very, very funky to have like white lips, and she's absolutely gorgeous, and I keep her wrapped in plastic, and just she's in such excellent condition. Most of her nail polish is in place. Looks like 40% nail polish there, so absolutely gorgeous. All her face paint, maybe a little bit of scuffing on her lips, but yeah, she's a crown jewel, and I love her. Her face is very, very much like an American Girl Barbie, which is very, very desirable. That had like the bend leg, so she has the AG face that we call it. So she probably came out a little bit before, or maybe even during the AG phase, which is the debut of the bend leg Barbies. That's why they were around since the 90s. And I don't think they're I don't think they're bend leg anymore. I really don't, but let me know. Anyways, that's it for my collection. I hope this helped you be inspired to start Barbie collecting. I would take a practice doll and practice on that first, and practice all your painting and everything to make sure that you're comfortable going on a vintage Barbie before you, and make sure it's not like in kind of medium condition, and most of the the lines are there for it. It's just a little bit faded. So with her, make sure her facial features are still there, so you can just like trace over her eyebrows instead of like painting on the whole thing. I commend those that could do it, but yeah. And there was only one video that I seen online of it, so I'll link it down below if I find it, because that was 7-8 years ago, and there might be more. So I'm gonna help you in your journey to restore Barbies, and help you get inspired to collect vintage Barbies. They're so beautiful. I feel like, oh my gosh. And one of the most gorgeous Barbies that was ever made, and they're the originals. To me, like, a vintage Barbie is like anything like before 1973, and I want all of them. I mean, like, all of them. Anyways, au revoir, my beautiful bubbles.